We're now halfway through the first round of the OHL playoffs, or at least I think we can call it the halfway point. All the teams have played at least 4 games and are now moving into the final three. Last night, the Flint Firebirds, the latest team to be eliminated from the postseason, they lost to the London Knights 3-2, which means there's now 3 teams on the outside looking in from the 16 that made the playoffs. And I'm just going to continue to go through this series of videos looking at the teams that have started the offseason process. I already started with the Niagara Ice Dogs and the Windsor Spitfires, and today I wanted to talk about the Peterborough Petes because there's some excitement around this hockey club. Of course, they won the 2023 OHL title, and coming into this season, everyone was kind of expecting Peterborough to take that step back, sell off the veteran players to recoup draft picks and younger players, and that's the plan they executed. And I'm sure for Peterborough fans, they would have liked to have seen playoff hockey this year, but boy, oh boy, I think they've done a really good job, and everything seems to be going to plan at this point. So the Maroon and White, they won the championship 2023. That was 17 years since their last title in 2006. And this team, they're looking at the future, but the fans, they're buying in. They had 17 sellouts this year at the Peterborough Memorial Center, and they set a new attendance record. They had 119,747 fans attend games at the PMC, which is a new record, beating the previous that was set in the 2005-2006 season. So despite this team selling off during the regular season and not expected to compete for an OHL championship, the fans were coming in droves, which is really encouraging to see. And it's great to see a team like the Peterborough Petes, who have so much junior hockey history, being a team that people are talking about and a team that's looking to be competitive in the not too distant future. At the start of the year, of course, they traded Michael Simpson to the London Knights for Zach Bowen and a third-round pick in 2025. That trade right away signaled that, yes, this team is selling and they're looking to the future. And Zach Bowen, a pretty good goaltender. He had some good numbers this season. I'll get to his numbers a little later on in this video. But when we saw Simpson was being traded, we thought, okay, so yeah, Peterborough, they're going to be at the bottom of the standings. But no, despite that trade, Peterborough, if you remember, they were at or near the top of the Eastern Conference standings for the first half of the regular season. And there was so many questions. It's like, how are they doing it? How are the pesky Petes first in the East Division? Can they make this work? Because you had all the veterans who played on that championship run who were continuing where they left off, it seemed, in the playoffs. And the younger players, they were buying in. And Rob Wilson, the head coach, he is doing a phenomenal job with this Peterborough Petes team. Of course, just the other week, he was signed to that 8-year contract extension. So the culture, it has changed in Peterborough, and everyone seems to be buying in. But however, despite being at the top, they had to do a trade with their overager situation. They sent Connor Lockhart to their division rivals, the Oshawa Generals. And then they continued to send out the veterans heading up to the OHL trade deadline. That included the likes of Donovan McCoy, Owen Beck, Jacques Dubois, Samuel Maillet, Sam McHugh, and Connor Smith. All those veteran players off to other teams, and some of them having some success with their new teams as they try to make it back-to-back championships for themselves. As look at Owen Beck with the Saginaw Spirit. He's been fantastic in the playoffs, as he knows he's going to be playing for another Memorial Cup. He played for the Memorial Cup last year at the Peterborough Petes, and this year he's going to get a chance with Saginaw. So it's not a surprise what we saw. We knew they were going to sell at the deadline, and they committed to the rebuild, and they've brought in some great young pieces, picking up Nico Addy, Aiden Young, Caden Taylor, along with several draft picks to go along with the young players they already had in the lineup. So Mike Oak, the general manager, he did a fantastic job this year to rebuild this team, or retool, however you want to label it. This Peterborough Petes team, they're focused on 2 years down the road, and they'll look to be challenging for top spot in the Eastern Conference once again. So we'll have to wait and see how next season plays out. I think this team will be pushing for a playoff spot. I don't know if they're going to be pushing for top spot in the division right away, but I do like where this team is going. And like I said earlier, the fans, they're buying in. There's a buzz right now in the Liftlock City. They love their Peterborough Petes, and they seem to love what's happening behind the scenes. They want another championship, and I don't think they're going to be waiting 17 years like they did last time. Let's take a look at the top 10 scorers at the end of the regular season for Peterborough. Tommy Perdeller, he led the way, 13 goals, 34 assists, 47 points. Perdeller, he was fun to follow during the regular season, and it's unfortunate with the way the schedule is set up. The Barrie Colts and the Peterborough Petes, they only meet twice during the regular season, and that's because the Barrie Colts, they play Owen Sound 6 times. So to balance out the schedule, they had to take 2 games away from a team in the East Division, and that just happens to be the Peterborough Petes. So we don't get to see them as much, but I was following along, watching their games online, and Tommy Perdeller always was a player that seemed to stand out. Then you've got Jonathan Malee. He was a fan favorite, 14 goals, 31 assists, good for 45 points. And then third is a rookie. It's Braden McCallum, 18 goals, 23 assists, 41 points. I felt like McCallum, once all those moves were made and he got the extra ice time, he benefited a lot, and he's got a great setup. We saw him in that game at the end of the regular season when Peterborough was at Sadlin Arena. He had a great setup from behind the net. So Braden McCallum, he's going to be fun to follow as well, and he's a rookie, and he ended up third in points on this Peterborough Petes team. Then you have Chase Lefebvre, 17 goals, 22 assists, 39 points. He had a great run. Ryder McIntyre, they picked him up from the Oshawa Generals. That was in a separate trade from the Connor Lockhart deal. McIntyre had 14 goals, 17 assists, 31 points. And then another rookie, Carson Cameron, 4 goals, 22 assists, 26 points. Caden Taylor, who they picked up from the Sudbury Wolves in the McCoy trade, he had 12 goals, 11 assists, good for 23 points. For Taylor, he wasn't getting the ice time with the Sudbury Wolves because they were just too deep up front. But with the Peterborough Petes, he was able to excel, and that's what more could you ask for? And then Quentin Paget, he had a good run too, 15 goals, 3 assists, 18 points. Cam Govro, their overager, 3 goals, 12 assists, good for 15 points. He ended on playing up in North Bay in that final game, and you could just tell the emotions were high in that one because that's where he started his junior hockey career. So it kind of came full circle for Cam Govro, ending it there with the Petes up in North Bay. And then 10th in scoring on this team at the end of the regular season, another deadline day pickup. That was Aiden Young. They got him from the Saginaw Spirit. 3 goals, 11 assists, 14 points. And the future very bright for Aiden Young. So if you look at the top 10 scoring, that's 4 rookies that ended up in the top 10 for the Peterborough Petes. So a very positive sign for this team going forward. Looking at goaltending, I don't think that's going to be a problem for the Petes next season. Liam Stushka had a record of 11-25, 4-1, but he had a .905 save percentage. Stushka, one of the top goaltenders in the Ontario Hockey League. So Peterborough, they're going to be tough to beat, I think, with the goals next year. You got to work hard to beat Stushka and look for him to even have better numbers next year as he gets older and more experienced in the league. Then you've got Zach Bowen. He did a good job as well after being picked up from the London Knights. Bowen had a record of 8-12-3 and a save percentage of .896. So goaltending, it won't be a concern next year. For Peterborough, maybe it'll be the offense and getting goals, but keeping pucks out of the net. I think this is a Peterborough Petes team that you're going to probably be in a lot of low-scoring games for Peterborough. That's just the sense I'm getting with this team as they go forward. As I mentioned, Cam Govro, the only graduating overage player for this Peterborough Petes team. And the lineup next year is going to be fascinating. They do have some options for overagers. That includes Chase Lefebvre, Tommy Perdeller, Ryder McIntyre, Jonathan Malee, Quinn Binney, and Liam Stushka. So someone's going to have to be moved. A couple of these players will likely be moved, but they do have some options to choose from. It's hard to say which of those 3 will be still around. Liam Stushka, yeah, I think he'd probably be there at the start of the regular season. Perdeller, who led your team in scoring, he should be there. But then Jonathan Malee, he's a fan favorite. Ryder McIntyre, he picked up from Oshawa. He looked pretty good. Quinn Binney, he had some moments, didn't get as many points. You saw there he wasn't in the top 10 in scoring. So he'll likely be one of the odd players out, but he still has a bit of potential there. So we'll have to wait and see how Mike Oak approaches things when it comes to the overagers. And of course, you can't forget the Peterborough Petes. They do have the 3rd overall pick in next Friday's OHL priority selection. So this team shaping up to be a fun one to follow. I think they should be able to chase for a playoff spot next season. So maybe we'll see playoffs back in the Lift-Lock City. But I think for the fans in Peterborough, they do realize that it's the 2 years. That's when they'll probably be challenging for home ice advantage in the playoffs and challenging for the division as they're entering that cycle in junior hockey, which we see with every team. Every team goes through this cycle. And for the Peterborough Petes, I think they've got a great foundation. They've got a lot of great young talent. They just need it to perform. And we've seen that with one team in the Western Conference that had a lot of good young talent. And then over the years, disappointment. I'm not going to say what team that is because I'm not doing that video just yet. But I'm sure if you've been following the OHL this season, you probably have an idea who I'm talking about. But still, that's the look at the Peterborough Petes. A lot of optimism with the maroon and white. I like where this team is going. And even when I did the interview with Stu Kernan, the play-by-play voice of the Peterborough Petes, we touched on the future of this team and how it's pretty bright for Peterborough. So let me know in the comments section down below your thoughts on the Peterborough Petes moving forward. Who do you think they picked third overall? And what do you think this team's going to do with their overagers situation? Love to see the interactions. Thank you very much for all your support. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you again soon.